I have my own stage name, which is Claudia Egypt. Why Egypt? Because I was conceived in Egypt. So the short version is conceived in Egypt, born in Rome, raised in England, suffered in India, reborn global. So that takes you up to about the age of 28, right? I'm a theatre maker. It just is. I mean, you work with what you've got where you are, and the beauty of being older and still doing it is that you can see all the patterns, and you're not invested in the same degree with it as when you are first doing it. When we first did the warp, I was 27, and I was 28. Actually, I'd just come back from India where I'd had a cosmic rebirth. So I kind of felt I knew exactly what was going on, which I don't think a lot of the other people involved in the show did. They didn't have a clue, but I knew what was going on. And there's a time when you look at people, I have to use a modern word now, since I'm cisgendered, cis female mostly. So, and you see someone and you fancy them, and you get a knot in your stomach, and you think, ugh. You may not end up doing anything about it, but you definitely are in that level of the game, and now I'm not, which is a great relief in a lot of ways. So you can see people caught in it, and it's absolutely vital. Am I going to have a baby or not? Your friends in their 30s say, and it becomes, it's a major issue for them. So a lot of that stuff's sorted, and you're just able to appreciate the beauty of youth without wanting to seize it. It's quite present for me at the minute because I am writing a play almost in response to the warp, which, as I said, was the poet's journey through life, a seeker from the mid-50s to about the 80s. And I'm writing The Woof, which is, a female's seeker's journey, probably from I'm younger than Neil Oram, who wrote The Warp, by about 15 years. So it's a slightly later time period, but you do the warp and you keep thinking, oh, what's the great revelation going to be at the end of this? And actually there isn't one. I mean, it's the longest shaggy dog story because, until it's completely over, you don't know, do you? So I guess what keeps me going is that I still have a sense of wonder and adventure about the future, even though I'm aware that my future is, it's a lot closer to termination than it was. So time becomes more precious.
When you reflect back, does it feel like a success?
It feels like very enjoyable. But I mean, this is success. I'm in a one-room shelf in Camden Town. But yeah, no, I don't regret a minute of it, actually. So that's probably why I'm happy now, because I'm not frustrated in terms of expressing my own creativity and sharing that with other people. And I've written plays that people have performed, and it's really fun to get people to agree to play. Will you hold yourself back? Fear of failure, I guess. I mean, potentially I could have been more worldly successful than I have been. So maybe I rationalize my laziness. And also, I smoke cannabis, the herb. And some people might say, well, that stops you being creative. And I can not do it if I don't want to. If I'm with people who don't smoke, I'm not going to smoke, because what's the point? You want to be in the same space. But so sometimes I think, well, Claudia, okay, now there was a time, mostly me, there was a time in my late 30s when I received an unexpected inheritance from my grandmother that I'd only ever met once in my life. I mean, I knew she was, because of my complicated family setup, my real grandmother. And I sometimes think I could have used that money more, why didn't I go back to college and do a kind of MA or get another, some letters after my name, or why didn't I go to drama school then? Because I never went to drama school. So all those kind of links that you make that presumably forward your career I didn't have. But I had a great time for it. And I did use some of it, correctly. But that's what I feel, No, you're your own worst enemy, of course. And I was obviously brought up in a totally patriarchal situation. I mean, my pa was a vicar, and he had like lots of daughters. He only one son. I don't think he. So I was very much aware that you had separate roles. Women did these things, and men did that things. I should get a career of some sort, but only till I got married, really, because I would be getting married and having children, because that was the career option all my sisters followed. But I just missed it because of timing, and the electric Kool-Aid acid test and psychedelics. I am actually of the Church of Psychedelics. I say I smoke marijuana, I do, but it's psychedelics that changed my life. And so I was around for that, and it was like, oft have I travelled in the realms of gold, if you like. I'm only quoting Keats because someone just said it to me recently. But you silent, wild surmise on a peak in Darien. I mean, like, we were offered a completely new world. And it was marvellous, and it still is. And I think it saved me because I had a lot of trauma to overcome in some ways. And I had to go to India and go mad and get locked up in a mental hospital. But I have an official certificate of sanity, so... Well, I'm happiest in myself. I can spend, I spend a lot of time here. And I can amuse myself with my own stuff. But I like people. I don't know. Look, basically, if you've learned to live with yourself, and that is obviously by the time you get to 70, you're who you are. And you've done all the things you're doing. So I'm not an unhappy person. No, it's partly because I have a partner. It's helpful to have somebody who is absolutely in your corner. And for a lot of my life, I'd think, I am connected, and I know all these people, and I've got a group of people, but there's nobody that's... So it's taken years to get to this. But if I feel myself, I think, actually, Claudia, you are kind of happy most of the time. I cry a lot, but I cry for the world. I could cry right this minute if you wanted. Just have to look at a polar bear. Which is why. So I cry every day looking at Twitter feed. And that's very irritating. It's frustrating. So therefore, I do go out on the streets. In fact, there's a big march. I don't know, but being active, going out there sometimes, that does help. But then I've always been able to cry very easily, So John Higgs, he just wrote a book. What did he write? He just wrote this William Blake Now, Why He Matters More Than Ever. And he wrote a piece about, I think it was about the Beatles yesterday, and I saw him. I said, "Oh, that's very good." I said, "It made me cry." And he said, "Oh, I was quite chuffed." He told another friend, Kate, said, "Oh, Claudia cried when she read it." I said, "Oh, don't worry, Claudia cries so easily. Claudia and I have cried over a green sweater because it was so soft." Masturbation released my soul. I'm not frustrated anymore. Nobody else can make me come like this. I wish I'd known about it before. Feelings pass from my fingers through my body to my mind. I know how to do it, so I'm coming all the time, etc.